Hey everybody, Chris with the Guppy Ranch. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a test between the Alibaba brine shrimp and the Brine Shrimp Direct brine shrimp in a comparison to see what has better hatch rates, size, time, just everything, comparison between the two brands. So what we have here is we have two brine shrimp blenders. We have a hydrometer, just some regular tap water. We have red sea salt. We have prime, and then we have our brine shrimps. We also have a scale so we can weigh the brine shrimp so we know how much is going into it compared to how much is coming out of it. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna set this camera up right here like this. And we're gonna start mixing everything up. So what I like to do is I like to get my salinity of my brine shrimp water to around 25 parts per thousand. So I'm just going to start slowly by adding 1, 2, 3 heaping tablespoons into this bucket, and to give it a good stir for a minute here. Just do a little test with the hydrometer. I'm just going to rinse this out real quick. So she's been rinsed. Let's just soak some water inside of it and see what it reads out for us. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but we're sitting around 24, and I was aiming for 25. So I'm going to call that good. For brine shrimp, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just salty enough. On the instructions, it says between 15 parts per million and per thousand and 35 parts per thousand. So I find the 25 mark works really good for hatching brine shrimp. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take both my brine shrimp blenders and I'm going to fill them up with this water. Make sure the bottoms are closed. Pour this water in. I like to keep it a little bit away from the top. I find the brine shrimp eggs don't stick to the top as much, and I get a better yield rather than having them dry out just around the rim. So I'm going to try to get these things basically exactly the same with the amount of water that I have in them. And then I will move them and leave them right there for now. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the scale here. And because these are 2 liters each, you can put approximately 4 grams of brine shrimp in. And that's my plan. So, let's get this to the proper setting here. Maybe I was wrong on the 4 grams. What we're going to do is we're going to do, let's say 20 grams of brine shrimp each one. It's about 2 tablespoons. Try to get that exact. 20 grams of brine shrimp. So right there, oh, you can't see that, I'm out of the camera view. Right there we're at basically 20 grams of brine shrimp. And we'll put the Alibaba brine shrimp in this unit. Then we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to use a different spoon. And we're going to do 20 grams of the Brine Shrimp Direct brine shrimp. Boom. So, 20 grams. As you can see, these brine shrimp are a lot lighter than those brine shrimp. And here's a side-by-side comparison of the color. I also noticed that these brine shrimp eggs are a lot smaller than these brine shrimp eggs. We're going to take that 20 grams and we're going to dump it into this one. So now we have the Alibaba brine shrimp in this one and the Brine Shrimp Direct one in this one. We'll go ahead and put the lids on, and that is going to start the bubbling process. And we just push those right back there. Then I take my light and I'll wedge it between the two. So the light's going to keep the 24-hour brightness for the brine shrimp because it really helps out having light. It's also going to heat the water up to around 30 degrees Celsius. So it works perfectly. Then what I do, just so it doesn't mess with my fish room because it's right beside my fish room, I take a piece of coroplast, signboard material, and I kind of just close this off like that. And that's going to block most of the light from getting into my fish room and keep all the heat inside. But for now, I'll just show you kind of the difference between these two brine shrimps. So on this side, we have 20 grams of Brine Shrimp Direct brine shrimp, and on this side, we have 20 grams of Alibaba brine shrimp. And I'll just take a few of these brine shrimp out and I'll show you what I'm talking about when it comes to size. So these brine shrimp, you can see are pretty big. Well, these brine shrimp eggs are tiny, tiny, tiny. So I'm guessing we're going to get more brine shrimp out of the Brine Shrimp Direct, but we're going to get larger brine shrimp out of the Alibaba brine shrimp. And that's just my guess. So stay tuned, and tomorrow we'll be harvesting and weighing out the brine shrimp and to see what we get.